And good evening, everyone. We'd like to welcome you to another broadcast, another mentorship broadcast with Bryan Gross. I'm your host, Jason Horsch, owner of Xanadu Gallery. This is broadcast number 7, and this evening we're going to be working specifically on portfolio. So it should be another good session. I'd like to welcome you all here, and welcome to you, Bryan. We were talking before we got started, and you're in the recovery from a cold, which is kind of understandable, as cold as things have been back where you are.
Right, but what are you going to do?
Yep. It's that time of year. You have a good Thanksgiving?
Yeah, it wasn't bad. Can't complain.
Good, excellent. Well, let's a couple things to catch up. First of all, you and I had talked about getting a piece shipped out here, and that's in the works now. I saw that shipped. I can't even remember if it was yesterday or day before yesterday, but it's on the way. I'm excited to get that out here and be able to look at it, and maybe we'll even get it up on the wall and start showing it to some collectors and just start getting some feedback. That way we can talk about what the reaction is and everything. So we'll look forward to having that piece out here. And then last time we talked about pricing and some general principles, and talked about what you've been doing with pricing. And we talked about working towards standardizing your pricing, and you were going to email me a list of your current price points for various work. And I just want to let everyone know we haven't forgotten about that. We are going to do it. We ran into some technical difficulties actually getting the pricing out here, which wouldn't have been a big deal if we hadn't also run into some procrastinating problems on my end of just barely getting to the email today and then realizing that it didn't come through. So we will work on that. That's still something, and especially as we work towards putting together and optimizing the portfolio, we want to make sure that the pricing is where we want it to be. But we'll for sure get that underway for our next broadcast. So let's just begin talking a little bit about your current portfolio, Bryan, and maybe how it came to be what it is. And do you have a copy of it that you can just show us what your portfolio looks like?
I do. Yeah, so
there it is.
So
yeah, and of course in the camera it's a little hard to get a sense of what it contains. So just describe to me, when you open it up, you see images of the artwork. Tell me what else is on the page there, and just give me a little bit of an idea of the format.
yeah, it was. I put this together after listening to your lectures about approaching people and sort of having something handy, not sending CDs or emails or anything like that, which I don't really care for either, and I'm glad other people don't. But so I put this together, and so yeah, just image, title, size, medium, and price.
Perfect.
You don't have to, flip to a price page and go back and forth. It's just like boom, right there.
Yeah, awesome. So yeah, obviously, you kind of listened to what I was talking about in terms of format, and when it comes to portfolio, what we're really using it for is a door opener. We want people to be able to very quickly and very easily be able to get a sense of what your work is, what your style is, and get that information that you just talked about, the sizes, the pricing information very easily. And we'll be talking more later on about how we're presenting this to galleries and how they'll be looking through it. But we just want to make it as easy as possible for people to see the work and get the information that they need so they know what they're looking at. Now, I am going to say that we're going to, you mentioned that I'm in favor of presenting this to people in person, and I am, but we're also going to be talking about doing potentially some approaches via email as well as presenting it in person. And over the last about 6 months or so, I've had a little bit of a shift in thinking about the email approach, I still believe that the personal approach is going to be more effective overall, but I've also come to realize in working with a number of artists that the email approach is a good secondary approach to have in your arsenal, and there's no reason that you can't do both, especially, as traveling is not always easy, and sometimes you want to be showing your work in galleries and markets that you just can't get to, and so email can be a good stopgap measure to get us to that point. So with that, though, that necessitates, if we're going to be emailing galleries, it necessitates us having a digital portfolio as well as the physical portfolio that you have. So talk to me, Bryan, how are you putting the portfolio together? What app are you using, or what software to create the printed pages for the portfolio?
I think my wife actually helped me with it. She was a graphic designer, so I'm not sure.
Oh, we all wish we had one of those in the house.
Yeah, oops, it came out, but yes, I'm not doing this all on my own.
No, and why should you? You should use all the resources that you have at your disposal, definitely.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. But she's just faster at it. And yeah, there was some, I think, template that just came with the Mac, a basic template. We would add the image to it, it would accept it, and then we could just add the title and everything on it. Then I would just print them off. And I got this nice binder, metal ringed binder with sleeves that I could just slip each image into.
Yeah, awesome. And, very flexible.
Yeah, and so I can add things or, whatever, change things. So that was it.
Perfect. Well, and so what I'll kind of your assignment for this round is to find out with the resident graphic designer how easy it would be to simply output those images to a PDF file, so that we can create a digital copy. And PDF has become so ubiquitous now that most programs make it as easy, if not easier, to create a PDF than it is to print the page. And so what we want to create, and maybe I'll just show you, and everybody else who's watching, kind of an example of this. Pull it up here and share this screen. This is a portfolio. I would say we helped create it, but in reality all we did was create the kind of the template for it, and then this artist created this digital portfolio. And it sounds like she did very similar to what you're doing. She used Google Presentation, which is basically kind of a PowerPoint competitor. Mac has Keynote, which is one that a lot of people use. You could also use Word, you could use PowerPoint, you could use Google Docs. What I like about using something like a PowerPoint or Google Slides is that it does make it a little bit easier for you. You can drop the images in, and then it makes it very easy to switch images around. So very easily you can just grab a page and change the order. So it is a good potential option, but again, there are many other options that will do that for you as well. And I don't really care necessarily so much about which software you're using. What I care about is the end result that we get, that it's fairly easy to output that PDF and output printed pages and be able to send those then digitally to galleries to give them a copy of the portfolio. So, Bryan, if you can do that, if you can just find out how easy it would be to create a PDF copy of the portfolio, and then if you could actually even just email that PDF to me. Of course, we know what success we've had emailing PDFs, but we'll get that figured out, and then I'd love to kind of just be able to go through, and the kind of the next key thing with the portfolio, beyond just the formatting and including the artwork in there, the next key thing is making sure that the artwork is in the right order. Sometimes this matters more than other times. With your work being as consistent as it is, I'm not quite as worried about order necessarily. But what I like to see in a portfolio is that there is some kind of logical progression from one piece to the next, and depending on the artwork, sometimes I'm looking for some kind of almost a narrative flow. If an artist has a lot of different subject matter, maybe I'm moving from landscapes to still lifes, from still lifes to florals, or whatever it is for that artist. For you, we might be looking at, does it make sense to kind of keep all of the work that is similar in terms of tone, in terms of theme together, and then move from one to the next, or do we want to kind of mix it up a little bit? And so I'd like to kind of be able to take a look at that PDF and just give you some feedback about how it strikes me in terms of the order that it's in. And then if we need to adjust that, we can go in and just think about which order makes the kind of the most logical sense, and just make sure that it's all formatted in a way that'll make it easy for us to disseminate it out to the various galleries. Now, the other nice thing about a PDF or a digital version of your portfolio, and I would suspect that almost everybody has moved to some kind of digital portfolio now. The other nice thing about it is that in addition to printing what you've done there in the nice portfolio booklet, you can also send it to a service like MagCloud or some of the other online printers, and very inexpensively produce multiple copies of the portfolio if you need to have additional copies to provide to a gallery or something like that, where you don't want to go through and have to create a new binder each time you need an additional copy. It can kind of give you a secondary portfolio. It won't be quite as nice, and the color may not be as perfect as the output that you have there, but at least it would give you another option. We may go ahead and once we get the format all worked out, we may go ahead and print an additional copy of your portfolio. Now, another few questions that come out, and I didn't notice, have you put any additional information into your portfolio beyond just the artwork, artist statement, or any kind of biographical information in there?
The only thing that I put into it were cards that I had printed up. And it had a little bit of a bio in the back, where I was from, sort of where these images were coming from, but I don't have a proper bio, like a full page or anything.
Which we're working on.
Right. So that'll be good. But no, it's been pretty basic so far.
Yeah, and that's actually more of what I would suggest anyway. Especially if we're creating a completely digital portfolio. I like to keep the portfolio separate from the biography so that it's easier. If I want the portfolio, I want to get to the portfolio. If I want the biography, I just go straight to that without having to deal with one or the other. And so I'll kind of show you how, as we're submitting to galleries, how having those in separate files can be beneficial. So I think overall, I think you're already very much on the right track with portfolio. And as we kind of progress and talk about, like I say, how we're going to get this to galleries and present to them, we'll see how these formats play together and how they can be used advantageously to show your work to galleries. Any questions about portfolio or format that we should cover?
Yeah. Just a couple things come to mind. One is when I was developing this, and I actually sent a copy of this to someone I know in Singapore. However, after having this a little while, I wish I would have printed the images a little bigger. Just sort of maybe a trivial thing, but if anybody's doing this, I would say get the image as big as you can on the page. And then the other thing that comes to mind with the sort of PowerPoint format that you were talking about, would you use that in lieu of or along with having a proper website that you might load images onto and send to a gallery?
Great question. And in essence, what I would recommend is that you have both a portfolio in place that you use physically, and there I go, forgetting to turn off my cell phone. Excuse me, everyone. That's a major faux pas there. Let me turn that down. Um, but what I would suggest is that we want the portfolio and the website. They're going to be separate and distinct. And we are going to talk about website and start working on developing a website for you. But what we also want them to do is to be harmonious, so that when someone looks at your physical portfolio or receives a digital copy of it and then goes over to the website, they're seeing, they're going to be seeing the same images, obviously, and we want to kind of put the same emphasis and kind of think about ordering them in a similar way so that they, they're not fighting with one another. And especially as we talk about the website, we're going to want to work not to show too much variety on that website, and that's a good thing to talk about as well with the portfolio. Your website, you have latitude just in terms of the physical space that's available to show, almost an unlimited number of works, and you should go ahead and do that as long as all the work on your website is consistent with all the other work on the site. With your portfolio, we don't want to overwhelm a viewer, and especially as we're presenting it to a gallery, we don't want to put a portfolio in front of them that has 200 images in it, because they'll just kind of throw their hands up in despair and not be as likely to review the work. So we want to limit the portfolio to no more than 25 on the outside, maybe 30 images. Any more than that, it just starts to become overwhelming. This is not going to be your life's retrospective portfolio. This is just the portfolio of the most current and most consistent and what you feel are the strongest works that are going to open the doors for you with the galleries. And so we will definitely work on kind of formatting the portfolio, and then also thinking towards formatting the website. And we'll talk about that in just a couple of sessions.
Sounds good.
Great. Okay, well, let's so that's going to be our assignment. We have two assignments that we're working on this session. One is going ahead and getting the pricing information. We'll figure out how to get that through, even if we have to send it by Morse code. And then we'll work on sending a digital version of the portfolio as well, and find out how easy it is in your current software to output that to a PDF. And if it's not easy, we might think about moving you over to a different format. And that might be a good time, as you mentioned. You could go ahead and put in larger images. You could play with the format a little bit to kind of optimize it, having learned what you have from your physical portfolio. And it may be that we wouldn't necessarily right away have to reprint your physical portfolio, but in the future you could then use this new version to update the pages and get yourself to the larger images that you mentioned, and just making sure the order is how you want it to be.
Good. Sounds great.
Okay, excellent. Well, we will do those two things. Next time we get together, we'll catch up on those. Actually, we'll do several things. We'll have the physical piece here, so it'll be fun for us to take a look at that, and actually have touched and seen and felt a piece, one of your pieces. We'll work on the pricing. We'll talk about the portfolio that you've sent over to me. And then I also want to begin the process of talking about and exploring putting together a show of your work here at the gallery in Scottsdale, and starting to think about timing of that, kind of what kind of pieces we would like to put together, and starting to give my collectors some initial exposure to your work to start building towards that. So it's still going to be a while away, but it's good for us to at least start to outline that now, so that we have an idea of what we're working towards, and start building some progress that way. And I'm it's always fun and exciting to get new work into the gallery and to start to get that feedback from collectors. So we should kind of start getting serious about that now as we get through the holiday season, and then into my very busy season starting in January. So we'll look forward to working on that next time as well. Anything else, Bryan? Anything you wanted to throw out, or anything else we should talk about this evening?
Mm, no, that pretty much I think covers it. A lot of little details to work on, and that's okay. But it's like taking those and fine tuning each one of them to sort of take things up a notch and look professional and make things presentable.
Yeah.
So,
Well, and it's surprising, and I think a lot of artists would be surprised to realize how important the format and layout and presentation of the portfolio is to galleries. You would think that it should be all about the artwork itself, and if it's good artwork, who cares about the format of the portfolio? But it is, just as you said, the little details often that make a big difference. And what we want to move towards is putting together a whole package for you that presents you in a very professional manner. And what that does is it helps lend credibility to you and to your artwork. And I think you can look around, really with any marketing efforts, the more effort and time and polish you put into that, the better the results are going to be in the end. So yeah, I'm glad you brought that up. I think that's a very important point to pay attention to. So
yeah,
excellent, Bryan. Well, hopefully you'll make a full recovery from that cold. We'll look forward to being in touch with the pricing and portfolio, and then we'll be back here 2 weeks from now.
great. Look forward to it.
All right, I look forward to it as well. And as far as the kind of follow-up to this, if you are following the mentorship on Google Plus, on the Google Plus page, the last couple of weeks we've been talking about pricing, and it's been great to see the discussion going on there. Let's talk for the next couple of weeks about portfolio, and if you want to send a snapshot of your portfolio and what you've done in terms of formatting and what has worked and what hasn't worked for you, let's center the discussion for the next couple of weeks around portfolio, and then we'll look forward to seeing you all online here 2 weeks from now. Thanks, Bryan. Have a great one, and we'll talk soon.
Great.